Good morning, third graders. For our lesson today, we are going to do telling time and elapsed time. We're going to review. On Monday, you are going to have an assessment on these two skills, and so today we're going to review. Please either have a whiteboard and marker or pencil and paper so you can work through these problems with me. To start with, we're going to talk about our vocabulary words. So we have a minute hand, hour hand, analog clock, digital clock, and elapsed time. Please pause the video and see if you can match those words to the pictures, and then hit play and see if your answers are correct. So to start with, we have an analog clock, a digital clock, which is mainly what you see in the world today. The minute hand of a clock is the long hand, and the hour hand is the short hand of an analog clock. And then our last picture is showing elapsed time. So we have start time and end time, which gives us elapsed time. Now we are ready to rock around the clock. First up, we're going to tell time. So our clock right here, we have to figure out what time it is. So think, between what two numbers is the hour hand located? Then we count up the minutes. And remember, every number on an analog clock stands for 5 minutes, 5-minute intervals. Again, make sure you're pausing the video, answering the question, and then checking your work. So looking at the hour hand, it's between 12 and 1. So I know the hour is 12. And then I'm going to count up the numbers. So I see it's at 7. So I can just use my multiplication fact. 7 times 5 is 35. So I know the time is 12:35. Next up, we're going to tell time again. This time it's a different looking analog clock. We're going to think about the same things. We got to do the hour first and then the minutes. So on this one, the hour hand is between 11 and 12. So we know the hour is 11. And now we know that it is not directly on a number. So we can count to the 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. And then we need 4 more minutes. So it's 29. Or you could also go 5 times 6 is 30 and then subtract 1 minute. So we know our time is 11:29. Finally, this is our last telling time one. Again, we're going to think about that hour hand first. It's between the 10 and the 11, so we know that it's the hour of 10. And then it's almost to the 2, so we could do 12 times, or 5 times 2 is 10 and subtract 1 to get 9. Or we could also do 5 times 1 is 5 and add 4 more minutes, which is 9. Do it the way that it works best for you. So the time is 10:09. Okay, now we are going to determine elapsed time. Remember, that's the amount of time that passes between one time and another time, between a start and an end. And we use the symbols, mountains, hills, and rocks, to help us figure it out. So for this first one, our step 1, determine the start and the end time, which I'm giving you. And then we're going to draw it on a number line. And the first thing we have to do is put our start time on the number line. So we're going to put 10:05 on the number line. Then we have to create our mountains, hills, and rocks. Always start with a mountain if you can. So 10:05 plus an hour would be 11:05. And then we're going to add another hour, because 11 plus 1 hour would be 12:05, and I'm still not to my end time yet. And now I know I can't add another hour, because I need to stay in the 12s. So I'm going to go with 10 minutes. So 12:05 plus 10 would be 12:15. And notice that it changed from AM to PM, so we're just past lunchtime. Then I have 12:15. I can add 10 more to that because I know 15 plus 10 is 25. So now I'm at 12:25. And now I'm like, I can't add 10 more. 12:25 plus 10 would be past my end time. So I'm going to add 5 minutes. 12:25 plus 5 minutes is 12:30, and I need to get to 12:32, so I'm going to throw in 2 little rocks, 12:31, 12:32. So now that we have our number line drawn with our symbols, remember we need to add all of them together to figure out our elapsed time. So we have 1 hour plus 1 hour plus 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 5 minutes plus 1 minute plus 1 minute. We add our hours first, 1 plus 1, so we have 2 hours, and then we add our minutes. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 5 is 25, 26, 27. So 2 hours, 27 minutes. Another example for determining elapsed time, and make sure you pause it and try it on your own and then check your work to see how you're doing with this skill. We're going to start with our start time on our number line. So we have 7:02 a.m. and then we're going to see, can I go an hour? 7:02 plus an hour would be 8:02. I'm not past my end time, so that will work. Now I have to go to 10 minutes. So I have 8:02 plus 10, so 2 plus 10 would be 12. So I'm at 8:12 a.m. Then I can go another 10 minutes. 12 plus 10 is 22. So now I'm at 8:22 a.m. Then I have to ask myself, can I go 10 more? 22 plus 10 is 32. So I can do that. Now it's 8:32. And now I need to get to 8:37. So I think, 32 plus what number is 37? Turns out this time it's 5, so I'm not going to have any rocks. I'm just going to have mountain and hills. So I'm at 8:37 a.m. Now we have to add up our times. We have 1 hour plus 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 5 minutes. So we have our hour first, and then we need to add up our minutes. So 10, 20, 30, 35. 1 hour, 35 minutes. Our last elapsed time for today's review. First off, start with your start time, 4:13 p.m. and start with mountains if we can. So 4:13 p.m. plus an hour would be 5:13 p.m. Then if I add another hour, I'm at 6:13 p.m. I can't add another hour because I know I'm still going to be in the 6 o'clock hour. So I'm going to go 10 minutes. 13 plus 10 is 23. So now it's 6:23 p.m. 23 plus 10 would be 6:33 p.m., still before my end time. 6:33 plus 10 would be 6:43, still before my end time. Now I have to get from 6:43 to 6:46. I'm going to use a rock to 6:44, another rock to 6:45, and a third rock to 6:46. Then remember, our next step, you have to add up your times. So we have 1 hour plus 1 hour plus 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 1 minute plus 1 minute plus 1 minute. So we add our hours first. We have 2 hours, and then we add our minutes. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 10 is 30, plus 3 more minutes would be 33. So this one, the elapsed time is 2 hours, 33 minutes. After this video is over, I want you to fill out the form that is a link in your assignments and rate yourself on how you feel about elapsed time and telling time. Before you get to that though, I'm going to introduce 2 new concepts. These are not ones you're going to rate on your form. I just want you to have an intro to these concepts. So determining end time. We can take the starting time and add on elapsed time to determine the end time. So if we're starting something at 5:02 and it goes for 2 hours and 15 minutes, we want to know what time would it end. So we're going to start with a number line just like before, and we're going to put 5:02 on our number line because we know that's our start time. Now we have to show elapsed time. So we have 2 hours, 15 minutes. So we know a mountain is an hour, so 5:02 plus an hour would be 6:02, and we need another hour, so we're at 7:02, and now we need 15 minutes. We know a hill can be worth 10 or 5, so it works out perfect. If we go 10 more minutes, 7:02 plus 10 would be 7:12, and then 5 more minutes, it would be 7:17. So whatever activity you started at 5:02, if it went for 2 hours and 15 minutes, you would end at 7:17 p.m. So that's a way to determine end time using elapsed time and a start time. We can also determine a start time. We take the end time and then subtract or go backwards the elapsed time to determine the start time. So if something ends at 3:22 and it had gone on for 1 hour 15 minutes, what time did it start? So again, we have a number line, but this time we're going to start at the right because it's the end. So we have 3:22 p.m. and our elapsed time was an hour 15 minutes. So we know a mountain is an hour, so we're going to put a mountain in, and we're working backwards. So 3:22 minus 1 hour would be 2:22, and then we need to subtract 15 minutes. So we're going to start with a hill of 10. 2:22 minus 10 would be 2:12 p.m. And then we're going to subtract 5 more, so we have our full hour and 15 minutes. 2:12 minus 5 would be 2:07. So whatever event you were doing, if it ended at 3:22 and had gone on for an hour 15 minutes, then it had started at 2:07 p.m. All right, now remember to fill out that form so we know how you're feeling about telling time and elapsed time, and have an awesome rest of your Friday and weekend.